Hello, welcome. You're watching Business Today. Today we are in a very special event. Of course, the Hurun India list is back, which is my favorite topic to convey. And we have a gentleman with us, two gentlemen with us, amazing gentlemen. One is Anas Junaid, of course, the researcher and founder of Hurun India, and we have Apurva, who is the NBC of Avendus Health. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. It was a lovely report. I would love to start with the first question. What are your favorite highlights of the report this time?
You want to add? Thank you. I think the report has been a remarkable piece. It's thrown out a lot of interesting insights. To me, I think what is remarkable is the fact that we now have a very strong representation from various age cohorts in the list. I was mentioning 1/5 of the list is entrepreneurs under the age of 30 who have created a certain level of value. Whether these are businesses which they have started or whether these are businesses which they have joined. I think that to me is a remarkable insight. We are seeing very good. Very secular kind of a participation across industries. That's the other big thing that we are seeing. We're seeing very good geographical participation. And one point which I made in my opening comments was the fact that if you actually see, about 1/4 of the list is coming out of people who have passed out from IITs. And that is a remarkable insight, because as I was mentioning, I think these are people who, instead of becoming job seekers, have actually gone on to become job creators.
Absolutely. The one point you just said during the questionnaire was the minimum age is 22.
Yes.
So people are coming forward and they are very open about that. They are doing social media things also, letting people know and everything. So it's like very inspirational for other generation as well. So Anas, going to you, your favorite highlights?
No, for me, I think working with Avendus Wealth in terms of coming out of this report and so is a highlight, because as a layman who is from an outsider perspective, they are one of the organization, possibly one of the organizations that have seen the growth of most of these companies at the closest level. That's what is interesting for me. And the Youth Series report is more of a, I would say it's a necessity than just a research report, because as we're speaking in the World Economic Forum, the Canadian Prime Minister or President, whatever, the leader, he said the world is going through a rupture and not a transition. So, the world is currently led by all experienced or veteran leaders. So now it is really the turn of the all young change makers and leaders to come together in terms of coming up with solutions that could take the world forward. And the Avendus Wealth Hurun, the Youth Series report is basically trying to find a spotlight on the young entrepreneurs from India. So we do have the Youth Series reports in the UK, which Hurun does in UK, China, Germany, Australia, and so on. So if there's a way in which we can cross-pollinate all these young entrepreneurs to come together in one platform globally, that will be a huge success. And I do think that Avendus Wealth and Hurun, we would like to play a huge role in getting all these communities to come together. And that, to me, is the most rewarding thing of this project. In 4 or 5 years from now, if this community can play a huge role in cross-pollinating and exchanging ideas and conveying some of these ideas in respective countries and take the world forward, that'd be an amazing achievement. All the other statistics, first generation entrepreneurs being there, cumulative valuation, all that is great. All that really goes on to show that they are leaders of power, they're leaders of substance, they're leaders of execution. If they all can come together in one platform and cross-pollinate, that'll be awesome.
Highlighting your point, you are the best people to answer this. India was always known for the legacy businesses. But now, I think your report also says nearly 80% of is the first generations. So are we going towards, are we going away from the legacy businesses in India? Are people coming more? What trend are we seeing in the next couple of years?
I'll maybe just give a couple of inputs here and I'll request Anas to add to this. See, you must appreciate the fact that for each of these cohorts, there has been a different criteria which has been used for first generation entrepreneurs and a separate and higher criteria being used for subsequent generation entrepreneurs. So, I think let's first things first recognize that fact. The other thing is the fact that when you look at first generation entrepreneurs, I'm delighted that 4 out of 5 entrepreneurs are first generation, and to us this is a clear indication the fact that people are actually looking at entrepreneurship as a long-term career option. And today when you see the kind of work which is being done on cutting edge technologies, for instance, a lot of these founders are people in their early to mid 20s. These are people who are actually creating businesses which hopefully will go on to scale and become very, very large. So what we've seen in the US has largely been a trend in Silicon Valley, especially of people who have been serial entrepreneurs. I think we are likely to see that trend here in India as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anas, you would like to add?
Yeah, I think it's not really a shift. I think the first generation is having a lot of momentum
Yeah.
because of the slew of IPOs and good IPOs.
Yes, good
and
IPOs.
because of which renewed interest for technology startups from India as well. And the founders have also learned a lot after the funding winter, so to speak, in terms of how to value their businesses more in a much better fashion. But one interesting factors that if you just look at the Hurun India rich list, we expect almost $1 trillion US, that's almost 1/4 of India's GDP, of wealth to change hands in the next 10 to 15 years in India. That is a massive, that's the biggest intergenerational wealth transfer in the history of India, right? Which means you would see a lot more next generation entrepreneurs leading in the forefront for Indian businesses.
So next 4 to 5 years are very good years for the IPOs and listing companies on the NSE, because we are seeing like lot of IPOs are coming forward from
Yeah.
the companies who are built like less than in a decade. So are we going to see this trend?
Very, very true. And not only startups,
Yeah.
even if you take a large group,
Yeah.
they are demerging their subsidiaries into it's become more like a mothership. Large group is a mothership. Then you'll have individual spaceships, and each spaceship is possibly led by one of the next gen entrepreneur, and that will be taken to public. Let's say Geo platforms or Inox Clean or whatever, right? So you would see that happening in the next gen entrepreneurs. So every mothership will have a lot of spaceships under it, which will have its own lifeline. So you'll see growth across all
Absolutely,
layers,
all
your
across
first gen
all
and next
these.
gen and everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, and the question I would like to go, which country is the best? Like according to your report, where India stands in terms of other countries?
Yeah, I think, China, US, of course, large, right? But India will be in the triangle, right? India, China, US. Are we comparable yet with India and, China and US? Not yet, right? But compared to rest of the world, we are definitely
Still on the list.
still on the top.
Still very much better.
Very much better, but we need a lot of catch up to do with China and US. But sheer size of the economy in itself, right? So we'll have to wait and see how that spans out. But yeah, we'll be number 3.
Yeah, if we
in
talk
the
about
youth
like
series.
last 10 years was like a flick for India. It went from this to this.
Correct.
So I think the time is not far away.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
of course.
There's a very interesting trend that I'd like to highlight.
Yeah, of course.
Interestingly, it's about over a year ago that we were ideating Anas and his team along with ours, and when we were putting this whole let's say foundation blocks to the youth series, I don't think any of us envisaged that we will have 436 names,
Yeah.
which will segue across these 3 cohorts. When the first list came out, we had 80 names, and our sense was that okay, it is a good number for the under 30 list. The under 35 list had 155 names, which was nearly double of what the original list was. And now the under 40 list, which we've just released, has 201 names. So it's remarkable. But if you take the aggregate of each of these 3 cohorts, today you have 436 young entrepreneurs in the country. Bear in mind that this is the debut list for this particular partnership.
Yeah.
So if we've had 436 names which have come in, who knows that this list
Exactly.
could potentially even encompass 1,000+ names. over the
Absolutely,
next
I
few
think
years.
so. I think so. Like very easily, it can pass 1,000 names per se.
Especially
500
with
is
the kind of rising trends that we are witnessing on entrepreneurships, across the country. You have a lot of tier 2, tier 3 locations being featured in this
exactly.
list,
Yeah.
and a lot of new generation businesses are actually coming out of these markets. So
Yeah.
the best part is that there is no upper cap. We can have any level of participation in each of these cohorts.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, this one trend I was seeing, I was reading your list, and Bangalore is one of the top cities where people are emerging from. So, Bangalore not used to, of course, it's known as Silicon Valley, but there are other sectors also which are booming in Bangalore as well. And Mumbai, being a financial capital, is not subjected to like only financial capital. People are coming with the IT services, AI technology, and much more. So I think the sectors and cities are so much diverse right now. So it cannot be pointed to one कि इधर से आया है तो इधर का ही होगा. It's not that trend anymore. So coming from Bangalore, this is so tier 1 cities we're talking about. What were some shockers from the cities that have emerged? What is the
Shockers.
yeah? What were the shockers? Like interesting subject.
No. I think Bangalore continues to be it's the number 1, but Mumbai is there, and a lot of tier 2, tier 3 cities are there as well. Again, it is, if you look at Mumbai, any of the next generation list in the youth, let's say youth 40 or youth 30, Avendus Wealth youth 35 or 30, right? The next gen, if you look at it, I think Mumbai dominates the chart, right?
Yes.
And Bangalore mainly because of technology and the first generation sort of thing. But what again, that I'd like to go back to the trend that I said, which is about this wealth transfer.
Yeah.
When that happens, the Mumbai entrepreneurs are going to be absolutely going to rule, right? And even if you look at some of the most valuable companies being built or led by, that's again the Mumbai-based entrance from the Avendus Wealth Youth Series. There's no shockers really. I think we have to wait. I think we frankly speaking, Apurva, I think Hurun has to really go and do a deeper job next year to go to every tier 2, tier 3 city and understand and find out more and more companies. I mean, that's going to be a mission, and that's going to be very exciting.
So any trends we will see in upcoming, like, which are increased from this? Any sectors?
No, I can tell from my standpoint. Apurva, you should tell from your standpoint. I think Gujarat will have a lot of interesting entrepreneurs. We could see their energy there. Someone like Coimbatore, then Hyderabad. You'd see. Other than these two main cities, I think these 2-3 are definitely going to blow over. And Gujarat specifically, I can see that a lot of these next generation leaders are gearing to take their companies up. Very simple, no? We were with SRK Diamonds, the family, right? I think they have a large diamond business. In the same family is one, I think it's nephew or grands. I think they founded Goldie Solar. That's again, if you ask me, it's the first generation entrepreneur who's featured on the list. So in the same family, you have two different super valuable businesses. So you are seeing that kind of spurt of entrepreneurship happening as well. It's not limit. That's when I talk about the mothership, spaceship sort of thing, right? You'll have a lot of
one point to this, as much as you made this great point about how the growth is secular, it's not just confined to one sector, but there are these centers of excellence which have come up. So Bangalore is a center of excellence as far as IT is concerned. Mumbai has been a center of excellence from a financial services standpoint. Gujarat, Anas mentioned, is a great center of excellence from a healthcare and from manufacturing standpoint. Hyderabad, another great center of excellence from healthcare. Gurgaon has been a great center of excellence from a consumer standpoint. A lot of consumer brands are coming out of there. They've been headquartered. So you will have these centers of excellence, and I think they will kind of create a very strong ecosystem, because the newer generation entrepreneurs who are wanting to build their businesses in consumer, fintech, healthcare or manufacturing will try and kind of seek inspiration from the people who've been able to build businesses of scale in those markets.
So like this means OGs will always remain the OGs, but trend will keep on emerging. The original will be the original.
No, I wouldn't read as much into this. What I would say is that over a period of time, you will create a very, very strong environment for entrepreneurship to come.
Yeah, actually, they are very welcoming. The states across sectors, as you said, secular, very welcoming of all the technologies and sectors, I think, in the cities.
Yes.
Yeah, actually. So my last question to you, gentlemen, just briefly tell me what are your expectations about the next report. Of course, we just decided it will be 1,000.
Not immediately. I think it's overtime, yes.
Overtime, of course, overtime. But what are your expectations?
Definitely not 1,000, but I would see, like I said, I think we have a little more job to do in terms of going through a little more deeper into the tier 2, tier 3 cities and engage with the community there and understand and find out and bring out and spotlight more of these entrepreneurs. One of the guiding principles of the Avendus Wealth Hurun Youth Series report is that we don't want to retain the same names every time in the press release. And some of the names, of course, they'll all be part of the distinguished alumni. I think we'll figure out how to position it. But then every time when we come out of the report of the media, we want to showcase new names, new stories, right? And get these stories out. And that's the whole idea. And hopefully that will give a lot of material for to understand more about the entrepreneurs and also to talk about their stories as well from your standpoint, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the whole idea. How do you spotlight more and more entrepreneurs? India's youth leadership is not limited to this 400 plus numbers.
Yeah.
I think we want to speak about 400, 500,000 every year, and possibly end of the 10 years, the youth series cohort overall should have identified at least, let's say, 25,000 young entrepreneurs. And what if they cross-pollinate across the country? And what if they cross-pollinate with the other youth series cohort? that'll be a sort
Game
of the dream
changer.
scenario.
Create a multiplier effect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Multiplying effect. Yeah, absolutely.
What
You
are
want to
your
add something,
expectations?
Apurva?
No, I think we should definitely see wider participation from different geographies and different locations. That's again my expectation. My expectation is also the fact that the ones who are featuring here will grow larger. There is a particular breakup that the Hurun team has given, which is in terms of the size of these businesses. How many of these businesses are more than $1 billion in terms of valuation? How many of these are more than $500 million? I think those numbers will change with the passage of time, because some of these businesses would have scaled up substantially, so they'll start making their presence felt. I think there'll be more women representation with the passage of time. That number of 9% today is relatively small. I think we're already seeing trends where this number will increase. I also think what you will see will be a more balanced mix of sectors.
Okay.
It will not be as dominated by one or two sectors as it is right now. Over a period of time, you will see a more secularity emerge.
Yeah,
I would think.
absolutely. Interesting finding. Wonderful conversation with you guys. Absolutely loved it. Always the reports, just it's the best. Thank you so much, guys, for having this conversation with me and being on our channel.
Thank
We
you.
would love to have a conversation once again in the future very soon with your new reports.
Certainly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yes.